Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our latest webinar in our series here at LawClerk. I'm Kristin Tyler, and one of the co-founders of LawClerk, along with my co-founder, Talitha Gray-Fazowski, who's here to join us. Hi, Talitha.
Hi there.
Hello. So we're really excited for today's webinar. We're calling it Build a Rockstar Team of Virtual Associates. Lately, anytime someone asks me what's the secret to success with LawClerk, I point to two things. Number one, working with your dedicated LawClerk advisor. Number two, taking full advantage of our Teams feature. And so today we really want to walk you through Teams and give you some more ideas of creative ways to use that feature to get more work done, even more than you're already doing. So we're really excited for today. Thank you for joining us. Now, if you're here, chances are you've already probably signed up for a LawClerk account. You've heard about us. But just in case anyone new is joining us, real quickly, what we do is we help match up busy attorneys, a lot of solo attorneys, small firms, firms of all sizes, with our awesome freelance lawyers. We also call them virtual associates. And the way we can help is you can connect with our freelance lawyers to get work done on a project-by-project basis at the flat fee price you set. There's no fee to sign up and there's no monthly fee. And as I alluded to earlier, sign up, you are connected with a dedicated advisor who's like your concierge to walk hand in hand with you and help coach you, help you figure out ways to best use our service. So lawclerk.legal is where you can find us, and we'll keep going here. Okay, so my guess is that if you're here, you're looking for resources in terms of virtual associates, that you're looking for ways to outsource more work. And that's a really smart move if you're a solo attorney or a small firm. There's so many advantages to outsourcing versus making a traditional hire of an associate attorney. You're going to keep your overhead costs low. You're going to be able to have flexible staffing when you need it and the kind of help that you need. You're going to be able to remain more competitive in your market by passing along a lot of those cost savings to your clients. You're going to be able to take on more clients, and it's just really going to help free up a lot of your own mental energy to do the things you want to do, whether that's at the office or out of the office. So kudos to you, bravo for looking at outsourcing as a smart move to staff your law firm and get more work done. So maybe you're wondering, well, what kind of work can I outsource? So you're always looking for new ideas. You know, the really common ones that we talk about are, of course, you can outsource big research projects, drafting any sort of written document, be it a demand letter, a complaint, a motion, an appellate brief, an agreement, a contract. Of course, helping with discovery. Discovery is unilaterally, I don't know about you, Talitha, but every attorney I talk to is like, can you guys help with discovery? Yes, we can. We can also help with a lot of your marketing work if you're looking for blogs or articles or FAQ handouts, and so much more, especially in the realm of, administrative type forms that you need within your firm to get work done. So you can darn well near outsource anything, and we definitely always challenge our users to get creative and don't hold back from trying something out. If you have an idea to outsource, give it a shot. So another big question that we get before we get into Teams is, I always like to highlight the fact that we get the question a lot about, well, is LawClerk an expense, or can I make a profit off of it, or what? The answer to the question, can lawyers make money via outsourcing, is a resounding, all capital letters, yes. Okay, the thing you really need to keep in mind is model rule 1.5 and making sure that the fees you're charging your clients are reasonable. So if you want more details on that, we have a really extensive white paper on our site that actually Talitha wrote, that goes state by state and gives the analysis for every single state of the ethics rules and why you are allowed to charge the work done by a freelance lawyer to your client at a reasonable market rate. Okay, so what does this mean in terms of dollars and cents? And I want you to get excited about the economics of this before we dig into a lot of the details, because then your creative juices are really going to flow. Let's say that you connect with a freelancer and you decide to have them write a motion for summary judgment for you, and they agree to do that work for a flat fee of $1,000 through our site, LawClerk. They're still going to keep track of their time, and they're going to report that time to you for a couple of reasons. Number one, it gives you the data you need to bill their time to your client at a reasonable rate. And also, if you're working on a flat fee basis yourself, it gives you the data to figure out if that flat fee is reasonable, or if you need to adjust it, if you should have paid the freelancer more or less, all that good stuff. Let's say that in this particular case, you determine that the reasonable market rate for that freelancer's work is $200 an hour. So when you take 8.5 times 200, that means you're going to bill your client $1,700 for that motion. Keep in mind, you paid the freelancer $1,000, so you're generating an additional $700 of revenue or profit to your firm because there's no overhead associated with their work. So you can see how doing this once a week can have a big impact on your revenue. Twice a week, 4 times a month, 4 times a month for all 12 months can have a really significant impact, not only on your bottom line, but your own sanity and avoiding burnout, getting a lot more work done and helping more clients. So I get really excited about the economics of outsourcing. And certainly one of the best ways to do that is by fully utilizing the Teams feature. So real quick before we get to that, a lot of times we get questions about, well, who are the freelancers? If you haven't worked with a lot of our freelancers, we want you to know that we have right around 3,000 freelance lawyers or virtual associates in all 50 states, and they come from a wide variety of backgrounds and areas of expertise. These are just a few of our favorites who have really broad expertise. A few more before we dig into it. Here's Tyson, lots of really wide variety of expertise. Talitha, anything you want to say about our freelancers?
I think the one thing we hear more often than not when folks try out LawCLERK is, oh my gosh, look at all of these fantastic people. I don't know who to pick. They are just so overwhelmed by the skill set of the folks that are available to help them. And that's certainly my experience. I'm constantly looking at these resumes going, this is fantastic. I couldn't handpick better people or look for better credentials. So, they're just rock stars.
Absolutely. And it's definitely our secret weapon is our amazing freelance lawyers. So, okay, so how does it work? Okay, if you have your account already, or if you don't, I'm going to take you now into our demo site and give you a little walkthrough. So this is the live site, lawclerk.legal. Ton of resources on here. I always like to highlight at the very top here our attorney resources page. If you haven't spent some time looking at that, you definitely are going to want to go check that out and just look at all the different practice area resources. I'll click it quickly so you can see it. But we've got practice area worksheets for every area of law. We're continually adding more. I think Talitha finished another one yesterday. So check those out. Now, once you either sign into your account or create your account, which again, there's no fee to sign up, there's no monthly fee, this is what you're going to see. At the beginning, you're going to just have this little plus sign box over here. I call this your dashboard, and this is where you can get started with either posting your project or building a team. And so obviously today we're focusing on teams. And so if you were curious about the freelancers we have out there, you could go in and post a team. You're going to put your name, your firm, your team name, whether it's, appellate practice, research team, or whatever. You're going to write a description about the kind of lawyers that in your ideal situation you would find to connect with to get work done. It's really easy to do that. Step 1, you put your description in. Step 2, you agree to the terms of service. You can get these up and posted, and then the freelancers will respond to you about why they're uniquely qualified to be a part of your team. Now, when you come back over here to your main dashboard, up here, I'm up at the top here, I'm circling teams. When you click that, you can build teams. You can build as many as you want. And we're going to go into some creative ways that you might want to do that. But let's see over here on the tax team, looks like we have 1 person on that so far. Lisa, if you wanted to, there's 5 other applicants. So you can see kind of what that looks like when people apply to be part of your team. When you click into one of the applications, you're going to get to see a lot of really interesting data. You're going to see their resume, a writing sample, and then you can scroll down to see their reviews and ratings from work they've completed for other attorneys. So if you like her, you could add her to that team. You could add her to a different team. There's a lot of flexibility here about, where do you want to put that person to be able to work with them in the future. It's always a good idea to build a deep bench on LawCLERK of virtual associates so they're ready to go for you. So another really interesting thing to do is, let's say you are in, and Talitha, I know you wanted to really highlight this point. Let's say you're in progress on a case with someone and they're just rocking it. Is there a way that you can add them to your team at that point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do this all the time. So I tend to post, projects out to the marketplace and find my perfect person. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to work with this person again. This person was an awesome writer, or just deep bankruptcy knowledge, because that's what I do, or, whatever the specific, or discovery, which I loathe. So I'm one of those. This person's awesome at discovery. And so what you do is you go up and click on their picture. And when you click on their picture, it gives you the ability there on the bottom to add them to a team. And you can then just click there and right in the middle, and you can add them either to a general team, so you just have them available, or you can add them to any specific team you have. And you can do this, either while you're working with somebody or after the fact. You can always go back to them and add them to teams that way too. And I just think it's an awesome way to make sure that once you've worked with somebody, you have them at your disposal and fingertips to go back to for the next project that is perfect for them.
Absolutely. So then when in the future, when you're posting a new piece of work, a new project, the very bottom screen of that is you have the option to post it to the marketplace or to someone on your team. So hopefully we're kind of showing you the mechanics of how this works within your LawCLERK account, where you would go to assign work to a specific person on your team, how you can build teams, how you can go back to people you've already worked with and tag them to a team to be able to invite them first. And you should know if you invite someone on your team and for some reason, if you send this work to Matt and he has the ability to write back, like let's say he's on vacation that week or he's doing a trial for his own practice or whatever it may be, if he's not available, then you again have the option to send it to someone else on your team or open it back up to the marketplace. Okay, a lot of flexibility here to get work done. That's what we're all about, is helping you get more work done. So, okay, I'm going to go back now into our PowerPoint because we have some great examples for you of how you can put teams into action. So, as I mentioned before, really the secret weapon of all of our top users who are getting a lot of work done and making a lot of money with virtual associates, they are taking full advantage of our teams feature. And so that's what we really want to highlight and give you some ideas of things we're seeing other people do that you can draw on as you build your own teams. So, first up, Talitha, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so what we're seeing a lot of our users doing is they'll build teams out for specific skill sets, and I do this personally. So if you have a practice that does a lot of demand letters or does a lot of contracts or does a lot of discovery, appellate, etc., you find the folks that have those skill sets. You build your team either by creating the team and seeking those folks or working with them and then adding them to your specific teams. But picking the people based on a skill set so that they're ready to go, and you have, when that issue comes up that you're sending a demand letter, you have your 5 Rockstar attorneys that you go to who just spit them out very quickly with your form, your tone. They know your writing style, and they're able to process those quickly. And same thing, for me, I end up having more appellate work than I'd like. And, that's a very different skill set than maybe somebody who writes a really crisp, fantastic demand letter or somebody that writes a really great motion for summary judgment. And so having the attorneys with that skill set, when those appeals pop up in my cases, who can really objectively look at it, help figure out, what are the appealable issues and how you should really bring those forth to the appellate court is just fantastic. So really encourage you to think about maybe building teams based on the type of work you need done and finding the folks that have those skill sets to do those for you.
I think you highlighted a really important point that I forgot to mention earlier, and that I like to kind of sometimes joke about, do you remember those old Hair Club for Men commercials where the guy was like, I'm not just the president, I'm a user? Well, Talitha and I can say that too. We're not just the co-founders of LawCLERK, we're actually attorneys, and we still practice, and we use this in our own practices. And so I love that Talitha highlighted that this is one of the ways she builds her own teams to get her cases staffed and get work done, and I think that's really important. So another really cool way that we see people using the Teams feature is to organize teams by different practice areas. So for example, one of our top users is in a rural area, a smaller town in the Midwest, and she has more of a general practice. On any given week, she might be doing family law, bankruptcy, have a real estate issue, need to write a will, need a lease, have a DUI. She does a little bit of everything because of the nature of where she lives and the practice she's built. And so she's actually built up really robust teams for these different practice areas. She's got a bankruptcy team that when she gets a new client in for that type of case, she's sending that work to one of those freelancers to get it started right away. She's got a team for criminal defense, estate planning, family law, real estate. You get the idea. I think that she has somewhere between 3 to 5 freelancers on each of those teams. So in essence, she's got about, I think it's like 14 to 20 virtual associates that all have specialized type of knowledge. And so, you know, even if in her area she could go hire an associate attorney, she's not going to find one magical unicorn who knows all these different types of law and knows them right off the bat. They would need a lot of training from her, a lot of hand-holding. Whereas instead, she's connected with some of our more seasoned freelancers that have backgrounds in these areas. So when she gets the work in, she can send it right to them. And since they've worked together now for a couple of years, they've got a lot of efficiencies and rapport. So she can tell them very baseline instructions like, hey, okay, we got another divorce. I need you to queue up the complaint, and I want you to go ahead and also prep the initial discovery responses. You know, here's my intake form, go. And so this is a major time saver. It frees up her time so that she can continue to go meet with other new clients, go to court, do those types of things that the clients really want her to focus on and be her best at. And it frees up her time from this written work so she can enjoy that. And I love the example of how this one attorney in particular has really maximized this.
What I think is so cool about what she's done too is because she has been on using LAWCLERK for more than a year, you know, she has these folks she's worked with on a consistent basis. So, I mean, it is exactly like having an associate down the hall, except that she doesn't have to pay them full time, right? She has to pay them only when she needs them. And that's just, I think that's awesome because it really is like having five teams of virtual associates. So all the upside there. And I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our next example is about how to use a team to work a whole case. And I know you've done this, Talitha. Would you tell us about this one?
Yeah, this is was just a sort of godsend for me once I had this epiphany of like, I need to find somebody to work with for a long time. So, you know, my cases run for over a year, sometimes 2 years, and, you know, they have really messy fact patterns and lots of players. And so, you know, what I tend to do is find somebody that I work with sort of the initial pleadings, whatever those are. Maybe it's research, getting prepped for it. Maybe, you know, it's a demand letter. In my practice, often I do corporate bankruptcy. So there's sort of your first day initial motions, and then it sort of flows through the case. And so I'll work with somebody at the outset. They get their arms around the facts. They get their arms around, the players. And as additional pleadings come up, I go back to them on repeat. And so, you know, it really is like having my virtual associate who, you know, knows the case as well as I do, and something pops up and, you know, I'm like, okay, so-and-so's at it again. Here's what they just filed, get the opposition together. And it's it's that efficient because they've been living this case with me for over a year. And it's awesome to have that resource just at my fingertips when I need the help. And, you know, they'll live the whole case with me. So really an awesome tool when, you know, you have these bigger, meatier cases and you really, it's efficient for me to get them up to speed one time. And it really is like having an associate next door. So just absolutely awesome way to build a team, use a team. And I encourage you to give it a shot.
I love it. I love that stacking effect of just, you know, progressing more work to the same freelancer, the same small group of freelancers for that whole case. And also just wanted to highlight that, you know, once you're connected with the freelancer for that particular project, you know, you have access to call them. You have access to set up a video conference, to email documents, whatever type of communication works best for you to get that work done is an option. So don't think it's all just through the platform. We really facilitate and encourage attorneys to communicate with the freelancers any way that works well for them. Now, a couple of last tips here when it comes to delegating to virtual associates. You know, as Talitha mentioned, if you have preferred forms or templates that you want them to work off of, definitely some of our most successful attorneys do that. You know, if you've got a standard commercial lease agreement that you need them to go in and revise and edit for a new client for a new deal, send them your form along with your checklist of things that need to be customized for that particular client and situation, and send them off to the races. You definitely also want to over communicate. Don't assume they read minds. Even if you've worked together a few times, definitely double check to make sure you're taking the time to share as much information as possible to set them up to do their best work for you. And last but not least, always be sure to manage your own expectations, okay? You should absolutely expect to spend time at the beginning of a project beginning of a piece of work to spend time giving the freelancer the information they need to succeed. You should also expect to spend your own time at the end of their work with their draft, you know, to revise it, edit it, finalize it, to include those additional details that maybe only you know from the time you've already spent living the case. But you know, by and large, if the freelance lawyer can get a document 80 to 85% of the way done for you, that's a home run. That is a big success in our opinion. It saves you many, many hours of your time that you can be doing other things that are probably a better use of your time in general. So, Talita, anything to add about success and ways people can succeed?
Oh, I think that's a really good point. You know, just like an associate in my office, you know, what I want from them is something that needs my finishing touch, right? I want to be able to put my little, you know, my little spin on things, but I want the law to be there. I want the substance to be there, so that you're just really adding your last little flavor. And it's identical to what you do with anybody you work with, you know, whether they're a full-time employee or a freelancer. So
absolutely,
that's a great point. But you know, I think the over communication is probably also just huge. I mean, when I start a project, I'll put in sort of my general description. I say, let's jump on the phone for 5 minutes, because that 5-minute phone call crystallizes all the issues, and you're good to go. So I think those are really, really good points to being successful with teams.
Fantastic. Well, if anyone on right now has questions, please be sure to drop those. We'd be happy to answer your questions today. Thank you to those of you who joined us live for the session. It will be recorded and up on our YouTube shortly. If you have not already done so, please take a minute to connect with us on your favorite social media platform. We're on all the big ones. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, ton of videos on YouTube if there's other topics that you want to learn about. And I'd be remiss to not mention, if you like our little Sharky friend, we're on Instagram at Shark on the Run. So thank you again for joining us. I hope this was useful. If for some reason you don't already have your free account with LawClerk, there's no time like the present. Go visit us at lawclerk.legal today to get started. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.